Hello, TPR Nation. This is Amber Kuhn from The Perfect REA. Thank you for joining me on today's Follow-Up Friday. Before I get into today's recap, if you're enjoying our episodes, we'd love for you to give us 5 stars wherever you listen or watch our podcast. On Monday, we were throwing it back as we pulled an episode from the vault. On this re-released episode, Micah was joined by Rod Zeeb from the Heritage Institute to talk about how you can help your clients through estate planning. Rod is, in his words, a recovering estate planning attorney, and he shared that he had some cases where he watched the families implode, and this led him to change the standard question of how much do you want to give your kids to what do you want that money to mean to your kids? What do you want it to do for your kids? And he said that changes everything. He said that most people need to know how to ask the right questions, and that it boils down to 4 things. People want to be heard, they want to be understood, they want to connect the dots between what you're doing and what they said that they want, and they want their wealth to help and not hurt their kids. Rod has said that by not asking deeper questions, it can actually be detrimental to your clients and their kids. So you can't just focus on the money, but instead, what can it do? He said you want to help guide your clients in this conversation by asking the appropriate next questions, and then ask, what could go wrong? As far as why this is important for advisors to ask these questions instead of an estate planner, Rod shared that it's really about building relationships with your clients and that relationship with the family. Rod said that the advisor is the one who can see the entire picture and how things fit, because everyone the client has talked to has likely asked a different question. So the client is only answering that question, or they're getting different advice because they're telling different stories. The advisor can go back to the estate planning attorney so they know what the client really meant and wants. As far as working with the estate planning attorney, you want to bring them in as a team member. And the attorney is going to do exactly what the client asked for, but it might not be what the client wants. So as the advisor, you need to help the client discover what that is. Another benefit is that you have the opportunity to help guide client family meetings, even if they're uncomfortable. And this is especially important when it comes to blended families. Rod shared that he has never seen a case where there's been a family meeting and the parents have described exactly what's going to happen that's ended up going to litigation. And as far as updating information and revisiting that alignment conversation, Rod and Micah said you need to do this periodically because life changes, both your clients' lives and their beneficiaries. So in Micah's office, they pull together a beneficiary report every year to see where everything is going in the client's estate plan. Let's get into action items. Talk less and listen more and know what questions to ask. Start with the vision first, and then make sure that you're asking follow-up questions and practicing. Also, be sure to sign up for our estate planning masterclass by visiting theperfectre.com/estate planning. Before we continue, remember that at The Perfect REA, we offer 2 levels of membership. Backstage Pass offers an inside look at what Matt and Micah use in their RIAs, working at your own pace. Our Invictus membership is for the advisor who's looking for more personalized, guided coaching experience and who's ready to commit to doubling their practice. Reach out to us at lifestyletheperfectre.com for more information. On Wednesday, Matt was joined by Paul Saganey, founder of Integrated Partners, to talk about the complexity curve. Integrated tries to help advisors run their practice more efficiently, support them in the back office, as well as offer coaching, mentoring, and they help advisors surround themselves with other successful advisors. So what is the complexity curve? Paul said this is where you have someone whose financial life is getting more and more complex. So maybe they started a business, they made it more successful, and maybe they're selling it. And what's even more important is their lives are getting more complex as well. So their kids are getting married, they're having grandchildren. Paul said it's the dual complexity curve of your financials and where your wealth is going along with your personal situation. With his coaching and what he's sharing with advisors is understanding where a client is in that curve. So how complex are they, as well as giving the client a glimpse of where they're about to go in the future. He said the advisors that join them are already successful, and they're trying to help their future by what Paul calls 6 times 10 plus 1, which is finding 6 more clients that are 10 times larger than the average client they work with today. They use this formula over and over and plug that into their accounting firm program where they're partnering with about 200 mid-sized accounting firms. Matt and Paul talked further about the personal side with the complexity curve and helping clients with what's coming in the future. Paul said this is called disturbing tracks, and the process is to recognize the problem, explain it, and draw it out so someone can visually see it, and then magnify the problem. Paul said you have to be different and be interesting to compel clients and prospects to want to take action with you. Matt brought up how all this comes from a spot of sincerity where you want a client to be successful. Paul also said he tells advisors to stop thinking that you have to have great solutions, but instead you have to be able to ask great questions. So when he's working on this, he's considering what are his questions and how are they going to be different from every other advisor and catch the client's interest, and then draws it out and where he's concerned and the opportunities to fix what's happening. Paul shared that it's all about that first meeting. It's great questions, great disturbing tracks, introducing all the problems they're facing. And then if you can cover that, present the fee, then you're really ready to go for that second and that third meeting. Let's get into action items. Get a clear vision of what you want to do with your practice. Then build your capabilities team and then figure out who you're going to talk to. Make sure you check out Paul's books, Optimizing the Financial Lives of Clients and Making Smart Decisions. On Thursday, Jamie talked about those people who get joy out of acts of service and how if unchecked, it can hinder you from achieving your goals. This episode truly spoke to Jamie because she's an acts of service type of person. She said there's a distinction between an acts of service person and someone who's just a good person. A good person is going to help hold a door open for someone, whereas an acts of service person will grab someone's bag to help. An acts of service person is going to derive joy out of feeling useful and making an impact on others. But Jamie said this can also hurt you because you have to be able to let certain things go, and you don't want to ask other people to do things for you. She shared a story of someone she met at a recent conference and how it reminded her of an experience she had where she had a lot of head trash around hiring an assistant. When she was first approached about this, she immediately felt that it wasn't an option because no one could do the work except for her. After some self-reflection, she realized that it was a feeling of self-importance that led her to think that she was the only person who could do the work she's doing instead of empowering and teaching others. She knew that if she had allowed her ego to tell her that she didn't need anyone to do something for her, and only that she's supposed to do things for others, then she wouldn't have been able to use her assistant's talents for her highest and best use. So if you've struggled with the idea of bringing on an assistant, Jamie recommends to first give someone a personal task before giving them a business task, even if that's where you want them the most. By doing that, your assistant can learn your communication style, understand your expectations, and you can paint what done looks like. Jamie said the hardest part about delegating is that once you've delegated something, you can't take it back. This especially becomes hard when it's something that's easy for you. So when mistakes are made in your personal life, those are easier to correct than in your professional life. She said the assistant should be able to earn the ability to do bigger business tasks. Another way that being an acts of service person can impede your growth is that you'll sacrifice yourself above others to where you'll make the call to miss out on something as long as other people get joy or get benefit from it, even if someone isn't asking you for this. So you need to check and see if you're shorting yourself and are you constantly putting other people before you and your needs are coming in last. If so, then you need to give that a place to live and recognize when it's holding you back. Let's get into action items. Identify if you're an acts of service person, and this isn't a good or a bad thing. Look at whether you need to hire an assistant, and if so, what does that look like, and what will it take to get that started? Once you've delegated something, you can't take it back. Look to see where you're doing this, whether it's at the office or even at home. And make sure that everything you do is documented and develop your policies and procedures. TPR Nation, if you're ready to grow and dramatically impact your life and those around you and want to become a member of the Perfect RIA, reach out to us at lifestyle@theperfectria.com. Remember, if you don't take action to improve your practice and your life and you do nothing, then literally nothing will change. That wraps up this week's recap. Thank you for joining me, and please share this or any of our episodes with another advisor or team member who you think might benefit from listening. And until next time, happy planning.
Information designed to change lives. Financial planning can make you thrive. Start today, don't think twice.